Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this propeller, and now this is the HQ 5x4.3x3 V1S. Quite a mouthful there, and this is one of HQ's newest propellers. If we go back in time and take a look at this guy, this is the original HQ 5x4x3. This was the glass nylon prop. This thing flies amazing. It used to be a super popular prop, but basically you touch grass or anything and it just shatters. So the aim of the V1S prop was to make it a little bit more efficient and a lot more durable with the polycarbonate material. And now the first 5x4x3 V1S, it didn't have very much power to it, so that's why they made this version, the 4.3, a little bit more pitch on the prop there to give it more pop and punch to act more like the original 5x4x3. If we compare the blade shapes side by side, you can see they're pretty much, or they are actually the exact same blade profile. However, if we put them up next to each other like this, you can see they are quite a bit different. The original just kind of goes straight out, where the V1S kind of has sort of the scoop here, and then it tapers out more towards the end to make it a more efficient and effective shape overall. And once again, this is polycarbonate material, so you can see it's flexible and it's going to be durable, but it is a light, thin blade, not like these Cyclones, so it's not going to be as durable as those. However, it should be plenty durable to take, branch strikes or going through some leaves or something. But I imagine if you do crash and hit into the ground, you might, bend it up at the hub or crease it. We take a look at the weight on the prop. Scale those there. We can see it weighs 3.78 grams, so it is a very light prop. So pretty much any motor, any KV is going to have a very easy time controlling this prop, and it's going to give it a very crisp feeling because the motor can spin up and slow down very quickly versus heavier props. And just the original weighs 3.67, so just a tiny bit heavier. So that was just a quick overview of the prop. For the quad I'll be running it on is one of my Hyperlight Floss. For the motors, we got the Brother Hobby Returner R3 2207 2550 kV motors. Obviously you got the HQ props on there. We got a Speedix IS 30 amp 4-in-1 ESC, Hyperlight F4 flight controller, TBS Unify HV Race, and a micro run cam Swift up front with a Emax Pagoda in the back. And for the battery, it's for line of sight I'll be using a 1300 milliamp hour R-line, and for FPV I'll put the GoPro on and use a 1550 R-line. So let's get to that. Alright, we got the HQ 5x4.3x3 V1S ready to go on my floss for some line of sight here. Got a 1300 R line, keep it a little bit lighter. So let's start up here. Now I put the pink and blue on, hopefully so you guys can see it a little bit better. They're just really smooth, really poppy props. And you can see on a light quad, this one's 270 grams dry, and then obviously had the battery at 1300. It just really, and big powerful motors which have full control over the props, it just really performs very well. Here's some top speed. You can see not that good actually compared to some other props. And hopefully you could hear that. You can sort of hear the props flattening out a little bit and then resonating. Because they're just, flexible plastic. And then, yeah. They just fly really nice. You can just, hopefully you can tell, they're just really have a nice pop to them. Like, here's a full throttle punch even on a pretty much dead battery. They just really get up and go and have good bottom and good low and medium end to them. Like I said, the top end isn't quite there just because it's a soft propeller, not that much pitch. It just kind of flattens out and resonates. But you know, if you're racing or freestyling, you don't really use the top end all that much. I mean, you certainly do, but I don't think this is gonna hurt you in any way to run these. And they're just so much more efficient than like a Gem Fan 5152. I'm really a fan of these guys so far. I've been flying for what, 3.5 minutes already? And my battery just sounds fine. My battery's still kicking. Would not get here with higher pitch props. Whoa. Alright, that was good enough for the line of sight. Battery's probably just about kicking it in. So there we go for the HQ 5x4.3x3 V1S. Quite a mouthful. Let's move to some FPV. Alright, here we have the HQ 5x4.3x3 V1S. This is some FPV. I'm running it on the same setup I just did for the line of sight flight. However, I have a 1550 R-line on now. The props, you can just really, it's just like the old HQ glass nylon. They're just so light, the motor can just really control the prop well. And my tune is a little bit off. I haven't retuned for these props. But in general, it's just such a light prop that I think you'll find it a lot easier to tune than a heavier prop. Corners pretty well. I haven't flown freestyle in a while, so I'm a little rusty. I'm using my race rates too because I can't fly with the 1250 degrees per second anymore after been flying 500 for so long. Yeah, they just fly really nice. And I haven't had too many hits on them to test the durability, but just like a few little branch strikes from the trees here. They held up fine. Let's just do a full speed pass.
20 seconds.
So you can see not very fast, even on these motors. These motors are really fast. The prop, I think it flattens out a little bit because it's such a light, flexible plastic.
10, 9,
and you know, the pitch isn't that high
7,
either.
6,
So
5,
definitely not a high-speed
4,
prop,
3,
but it is super
2,
efficient.
1, 0.
You only get I get basically an extra minute of this type of flying with these props versus something like a Cyclone V2 or a Gem Fan 5152. So definitely good on efficiency there, which makes them surprisingly good for racing, because a lot of time in racing you're maxing your battery out on a long track. Like I said, I do a 1550 on, so I'm going to get longer flight time, but I also have the GoPro. But surprisingly, it's handling the extra, what is it, 100, probably at least 100 grams pretty well. I thought these might favor light builds, which, I mean, they do. Every prop does. Lighter is better, but they handle the extra weight just fine. Alright, I guess that was good enough. We'll come in and land. There we go. Alright, so I've been flying these propellers all day, and I probably put about 15 batteries through them, and I just really like these guys. You can just see from the line of sight flight, just the pop and control and responsiveness it has on a quad. You know, just it's such a light propeller with a decent pitch. You know, it's not too low, but it's not too high either. The motor can just really command and really control the prop, and it gives it a nice crisp feeling. And with the general blade shape and pitch not being that high either, it is definitely very efficient. I've been getting at least 30 seconds to a minute more flight time on this quad than I did with other propellers. And now I haven't crashed this at all yet, but just looking at it and feeling it in my hand, I'd probably say the durability is going to be medium-high. Not on the Cyclone level, but definitely infinitely better than these old nylon props. Probably even a little better than a Dow T5040 V2. It just feels a little bit stiffer than one of those. And now this is a very good freestyle prop because it doesn't have quite the top end, but you don't really use that so much in freestyle. Well, depending on your flying style, but most people, you know, it's sort of the low to mid end that really matters the most. These will help to, you know, pop over trees and recover from hard falls, so that's really nice. But I'm also going to be recommending these as a race propeller too, just because it is so efficient. A lot of the times, especially with this quad, with these large motors, I find that I have to really pay attention to my throttle to finish out a 2-minute multi-GP race. So putting on a more efficient propeller is definitely going to help a lot there. And they just have really nice control feeling in the air. I think they do great on a racetrack. And it is nice that there are lots of colors available. We have the green, we got sort of the clear yellow, obviously the blue and pink, got a clear purple and a black, so lots of colors to choose from and customize it if you want. So overall, I just really am a huge fan of this prop. It's just such a great general prop, sort of an all-purpose prop, and obviously you can change it out, you know, if you're going for high-speed runs or a different type of flying, but in general, I think this is a great option. It's going to be my go-to prop going forward unless I have a specific application that I want the quad to fulfill. So that was the end of the video. Thanks to Prop City for sending these HQ 5x4.3x3 out to test. There will be a link down below to their site if you want to get a set of these and try them out for yourself, which I highly recommend. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.